Back-to-back gorgeous days, boys. What more can you ask for? As you guys can see by the title of this video, I think it's time I give you my review of this. I have definitely put it through its paces. As someone who hasn't really had that much experience on an e-bike, I think I can give a kind of a different perspective, kind of the value proposition, what kind of things this brings to the table, you know. But before we get into that, show me some appreciation, boys. Let's go ahead and commit battery on that like button. All right, let's murder that subscribe button for me, please. But again, thank you so much, guys, for the support. I'm having a blast doing this. You guys are loving the videos, and that gives me all the motivation in the world to keep on going. Now, I currently have, as what it says here, 367. So I'm inching all closer to 400 miles, right? I bought this, when did I buy this? I want to say I bought this back in, what, April or something like that? That sounds about right, because I bought it definitely a couple months ago. And that was literally as soon as I sold my entire collection of Pokemon cards, I used that cash to buy this, right? So I've had it for a few months, itching in on 400 miles, and it cost me $1,500 cash. Now you can order these online. I bought it from a person that sells them around here. He gets crates full of them, right? Of the boxes, he builds them too. So I just picked up a box from him, built it at home, which is a pretty nice experience. Now, I will caution you, boys, right? If you don't have any experience kind of assembling anything like this like me, it's not for the weak. I definitely struggled a little bit doing it. As you guys can see, we almost killed my e-bike previously. Like, I'm not very familiar with these things, right? I've only ridden one other e-bike, and that was a Super 73 back in my California days. So we're talking about, what, 4 or 5 years ago at least? And it was a pedal assisted bike, so not really a electric dirt bike like this. It's not crazy involved like the assembly and whatnot. It definitely helps if you have somebody that knows what they're doing, especially when regarding like brakes and whatnot, making sure they're not rubbing, everything is kind of aligned properly. You know, people that know their way around these kind of things that'll make sure everything's all good. Definitely suggest going through that. I mean, if you are spending, like I did, $1,500 on it, like, you kind of want it to be okay, you know? I ran into some issues, which again, I will 100% attribute to just skill issue. Just completely write it off as a skill issue. I just didn't know any better. I've never built anything like this. I don't have experience with bikes in general, like even like pedal bikes. I mean, the most mechanical involved thing I've done on like a pedal bike would be, you know, the chain came off and, you know, you got to put it back on. That's about it. That was pretty intensive for me, you know, but it's not hard. I will say, if you've watched a few videos, right, study it through all the way, because there are some steps that the official like video manual they kind of rush through a little bit, right? But if you are pretty technically skilled, you should be good, right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to build it. I mean, I built it with no experience, but I do have experience building other things, so like, you know, I'll say if you've never picked up a wrench, definitely avoid this kind of stuff. Have somebody else build it for you, or just pick one up pre-built, of course. But the overall installation or the assembly was really easy to follow. A couple steps were just kind of, you know, had to rewind it, make sure a couple times that I was actually doing it properly. It was a very simple assembly, not crazy involved. There are a couple complaints that I do have in terms of, like, I guess the build quality, that kind of thing. The war zone out here, Jesus, holy traffic on 147th, boys. All right, now that we're fully out of that, I can continue my thought. Also, I realized I don't think I even said what model e-bike I have. So, boys, as you can see, this is the Valtinsu EM5 Pro. Now, it's important to note that distinction. They got two EM5s. They got the EM5, just a regular EM5, and this bad gal thing, which is the Pro. Now, the differences between the regular EM5 and the EM5 Pro are a couple things. Obviously, one, the Pro is more powerful, so it's a 60 volt mode or 60 volt battery versus the 48 volt in the regular EM5. You have a 17 and a 14 for wheels on the Pro versus a 14 and a 12, I think, on the regular EM5. So I'm about 5'8", right? And I fit comfortably on this bike, and it does still feel a little small. I've ridden other bikes like the Tudio. I forget what like that model bike is called, but it's the Tudio that everybody has right now. It just feels way too small. Like it does feel very toyish. This one feels a little bit more like a dirt bike, you know? If you do got that adult money, or you are kind of a bigger kid, I highly recommend you just pony up and get the bigger one. It's a bigger bike essentially, and you'll be a lot more comfortable on it. In the long run, it'll help out a lot with ergonomics. But yeah, Valtinsu EM5 Pro. Oh yeah, retails around 1500, 1600 around there. With regards to performance, right? This is where I'm not all that familiar with spec sheets or whatever, right? I'll just give you my practical understanding of performance. So like I said before, it's got a 60-volt battery, which means it's pretty powerful, right? 60 volts is pretty capable. With me being on it, right? So I'm about what, 160-ish? So it'll top out allegedly, according to this thing, which again is not accurate, 45 to 50 miles an hour, according to this thing. In reality, it's probably between 40 and 50 miles per hour IRL, like on GPS. I've never tested it with the GPS, so I couldn't confirm nor deny that, but there are plenty of other top speed runs. Another thing regarding top speed and performance, this thing does come ready to accept a dongle thing or whatever. Damn! It's a whole tree fall. But yeah, it comes ready to accept the Fair Driver dongle that you can use to tune it with the app. Now, I've heard that you can achieve a higher top speed, the throttle's a little more aggressive. You can tune the curve however you want. Like, you can do all that fun stuff, right? I never did that. The only quote-unquote modification I did was just disable the rear brake sensor, and that's about as far as I went. I don't really have a use for performance mods or anything. So yeah, boys, in terms of like top speed and whatnot, about 40-ish, 45. Now, on the street, right now, I'm riding on the sidewalk, this absolute withered sidewalk, right? You can keep up with traffic, like residential traffic. You can keep up plenty, keep ahead to, you know, put distance between you and cars. Like, you can do all that fun stuff and not have to worry about, oh, you know, I'm holding up traffic, or, you know, people are gonna have to dodge me, or I'm like, you know, taking unnecessary risks. Nah, you wouldn't have to deal with that. Damn, dude. Yo, Oak Forest got slammed, yo. Like, once you're getting to 40-mile-an-hour traffic, you're kind of pushing it, because you're wringing out the bike completely. You'll get up to 40, like, decently quick, probably faster than most cars, because most of them aren't really accelerating that fast anyway, but you are, like, completely pinned. You are pinned to that throttle, tucked in and everything, trying to get absolute every last ounce of top speed that you can from the bike, you know? It doesn't struggle to get up there. It's not like you're having to pin it wide open for a while before you can get up to the top speed. Jesus. I didn't think it was that deep. Yo, and then there's a just fallen tree right here. We got a couple of downed American flags, boys. Can't let this be. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah. We restored America. Oh no, don't thank me yet. But yeah, it's quick, it's nimble. If you're not careful or you're not expecting it, the front wheel will lift up on you. So if you're like at a stop or something and then you just, you know, like, you'll get the front wheel up, no issue. Can you wheelie it? Of course, there's people that can wheelie this thing just like easy all day, every day. I am not that talented just yet, but once you start getting, like I said, to the 40-mile-an-hour like top speed range, that's where things get kind of tricky. You're pushing the limits of the bike for sure. So that's about it for top speed. I think it's plenty fast for what I need it to. As you guys see, I live out in the suburbs, not necessarily too urban. Definitely way more than what you need in a really densely packed city or whatever. Definitely plenty fast for what you need it to be, you know? As for weights and like agility, like how quick it is, like how nimble it is, how light it is under you, I think the bike weighs around 150 pounds. Again, I'll have like spec sheets posted. I'll put them on the screen. If I do recall correctly, I believe this thing does weigh around 150 pounds-ish. It's not the lightest bike in the world, I know that for a fact. Like the Tudios, the regular like Yaosma N10s or whatever, like those feel a lot lighter, you can tell, but it's not like sluggish. It definitely takes some getting used to, especially for me. I've never ridden anything like this. I've never ridden like kind of crazy of like a dirt bike style or this kind of e-bike type, so it definitely took some getting used to for sure. So it feels really nimble. Like once you get used to it, once you get used to how this thing feels under you, like you can definitely swing it around, take it over the dirt and whatnot. It feels really good on the dirt. It feels very stable. You feel pretty good on it, and it's got a good enough weight that bumps and stuff, like you'll be able to tank a decent amount of bumps. So the suspension, I'm not, bro, I know even less about suspension than I do anything else. The forks feel really good. It's not super stiff in the front, and you can tell, man, look at this park though. Hold on. Yo, chat, Jesus. What a gorgeous part though. Now the rear shock, I'm not too sure about adjustability on these things. I'm gonna just assume that they're not adjustable, or if they are, they're very minimally adjustable. But I will say though, they are set up pretty nice. I'm really happy with how the front forks feel. They feel great, stiff enough to where it feels super stable, and the rear is stiff enough too. I think the rear is a little like too stiff for my liking, if I can be honest. It's a little too stiff for my liking, because I feel like it definitely bucks me off a lot, and like I feel every bump in the rear. I feel like it could be a little bit more spongier. I'm not too sure what setting that would be. Rebound, preload. Dude, I know nothing about suspension, or I should say very minimal, but it's a very zippy bike, especially once you get the hang of it and you're really ripping it. Like, it feels great. You can hop on the dirt and do literally anything you want. Like I said, 17-inch wheel in the front with a 14 in the rear, and you got those super nice knobby tires, which is awesome. This is the kicker right here, right? You guys are probably wondering, E-Man 2Wavy, where are you going? What are you doing? Right? I know this is a review, but where are you going? Looks like I'm on a mission. This is kind of part of the test. Range, it varies. Of course it does. I feel like every reviewer says it, but it's true. It just depends. If you ring it out, you'll kill the battery really quickly. But as I'm using throttle, I don't know if you guys can tell because it tends to flicker due to my shutter speed. We lose a bar. If I go all the way, it'll drop all the way down. And that's the one thing I do not like. The quote-unquote battery gauge is not necessarily like a proper like fuel gauge or anything. Depending on how hard you ride it, of course, is how fast you're gonna kill the battery. If you guys can tell from how I ride, right, I just kind of keep it open here and it gets going really quick, right? It's an electric motor. You don't really need a lot of throttle to get it going, especially if you want to go at a smooth pace. Obviously rip it and then you'll just start zooming really quickly. If I could give you a distance for the amount of riding I do, I record for about an hour, 2 hours ish, and the battery lasts me way more than that. It's decent. I would recommend charging it every night, especially if you're riding a decent amount and you're really, you know, pinning it and whatnot, having fun, because you're gonna need it. The battery life is not good. You're not gonna be able to go out on like very long rides. I'm testing the range right now, so allegedly we still have full bars, but of course that's discharge rate. Right now at this current discharge rate, it'll last me the maximum amount of time. Of course there's no throttle play. I'd probably say 80% through with the battery. This should be Tinley Park, I believe, / Oak Forest. I think we're getting on the border. I'm gonna try and make it to Orland Park. Now Orland Park's about a 20-ish minute drive from where I stay at, so this is kind of my range test, because this is pushing it. I've never pushed the bike this far. I'm definitely very interested to see. What, do you think I'm gonna hop on in front of you? Come on, man.
Wait.
Spotted that from a mile away, boys. Whole bunch of side of the vehicle encounters. Golly, dude, so many down trees over here. Dude, I mean, these storms did a number in the area again. Illinois is a new tornado alley. It's just us, because we have recorded already the most tornadoes out of any state this year, so it ain't really looking good for us. But overall, what are my thoughts? I think this bike is awesome. I did a decent amount of research to see which kind of e-bike I was going to pick up, because I did want something like this, like an electric dirt bike type, something I could rip. I didn't want pedals. I didn't care about being street legal or whatever, because your boy's a certified bad boy. All right, I'm just put that out there. And obviously the first thing that come to mind would be like a Sur-Ron, but bro, I'm not dropping real bike money on an e-bike. And it already sucks that Illinois is already gonna ban e-bikes, what, starting of next year? Like, unbelievable. So it's not like I'm gonna be able to enjoy it. And yeah, I'm not registering a Sur-Ron. I'm super good off that. I honestly just took a look at a couple. I went on Facebook Marketplace and saw what was available near me, right? And then just kind of looked them up on YouTube, see if any one of them was worth it. Because I just wanted something crazy. I didn't care to do too much extended research, because I wasn't really gonna get into it like that. The Yasma N10 came up, which is literally the exact same bike, just slapped on with different branding. Yasma N10, N10 Pro, the 2DO, of course, the like bike or whatever, Sur-Rons, of course. But then this one also popped up, right? So I did some research. It's kind of a no-name brand, right? Chinese. How good can it get? Pretty cheap, relatively speaking, compared to other ones, and I get good enough performance. I didn't want the 48-volt versions of anything, especially because they were really small. They look like toys and I'd look ridiculous on them, you know? I'm not even a bigger guy or anything, you know? I'm like fairly average all the way around, and you just look ridiculous, you know? And I definitely wanted something I'd have fun on, so this was like the perfect perfect in between. Not too small, not too big. Perfect, like just toyish enough to where it feels super fun, and just big enough to where I don't look ridiculous riding it, you know? So overall, I am loving this bike. I think this bike is phenomenal. If you want something like your kid's begging you for an e-bike or whatever, you don't want to drop 4 or 5 racks on a Surron, even though that's what they're begging for. Something like this is really good. Obviously, like I said, you got a couple other options in the weight class and whatnot, but I think for what it is and what it costs, it is super worth the money. I don't regret it at all. All right, boys, I think we're officially in Orland Park, but this is kind of impressive. I have more than enough battery life to withstand me coming back home. Yeah, just from riding the bike, I kind of know its range. Freshly topped up as of this morning. LaGrange and 159. Super busy intersection. And this here, LaGrange Avenue. LaGrange Road. LaGrange Road is super busy, and we got a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. I will not be riding the streets. It's a little fast for me, and if I ride the streets, I'm gonna just kill my battery in like 2 seconds. But yeah, boys, we made it to Orland Park. Very impressive, if I might add. Expect some videos out here. I mean, I know a couple good areas around here. I know a couple good parks out here. I mean, this is just a super affluent area filled with stores. There's a mall here. Shout out Orland Square, the best mall in the suburbs. I'll die on that hill gladly. But I guess to wrap up, right, my thoughts on this bike, I think it's 100% worth the money. If you guys get it for around $1,500, I know you guys can like order it, I think, from Amazon and like other retailers online and whatnot. I think there's a lot of fun to be had on this bike. If this is something you're already looking forward to, or something you're looking to pick up in the future, of course, it's cheaper than a lot of other options out there. My complaints would just be some of the build quality is kind of shoddy, but it is a lot better than what I expected coming from a no-name Chinese brand and a bike that only costs $1,500. I definitely expected way worse. The number plate is like the biggest complaint. This thing does not fit the way it's supposed to, but you get a lot of really nice features. A full color little display here, hydraulic front and rear brakes, Surron throttle, Surron headlight, I believe. You get a lot of really nice features on this thing for what you're paying. Of course, at the end of the day, there's drawbacks, but I think the pros vastly outweigh the cons. If you are looking at this bike and you're on the fence about it, I'd say go for it. Another drawback would be, of course, the range. That's kind of the one thing, but it's surprisingly more than most think. I'm gonna show my total distance here, assuming I make it back, of course, and I will definitely record a clip if I don't, which hopefully I do, boys. Pray for me. So yeah, I'm definitely surprised. I've never done a long, quote-unquote, long distance trip on this thing because, of course, I just didn't really trust the range, but it far exceeded my expectations. Of course, there are other bikes that do last longer, but I will say the aftermarket support of this bike is pretty good. It's pretty good. You could get a 72 volt kit, right? So you can pop in a 72 volt battery and a beefier controller. Like, I think this controller is 80 amp. You could get 100 amp, 120 amp. Like, you could really do some nice performance mods if that's something that you're interested in, of course. It is cost heavy for sure. You can do a bunch of things on this bike. Like I said before, you can tune it and whatnot. Overall, boys, I'm having a blast on this thing. I think it's great. I think for the money, you really can't beat it. That about concludes our video today, boys. So if you guys liked what you see, of course, you guys know what to do, man. I don't have to keep explaining this. You guys know the drill. Hit that like button. Go subscribe, boys. Make sure your notifications are on so you don't miss a video every Tuesday and Thursday, of course. But again, boys, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for the support. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's review. Thank you so much for your support. Maybe you guys want to check out some of these videos perfectly curated for you guys. But yeah, that's been it for me, guys. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Who is the princess of friendship? Your mom. Your mom. Cross my heart and hope to fly to the cupcake tonight.